Bronwyn's mother couldn't be mine. She wouldn't be up in my house. That's all I'm gonna tell you that right now. But if y'all are new here, hit subscribe, join the party. We are getting these housewife videos out. Like, we doing them. We here. Join the party. Like I said, I'm doing this one, and I just started doing Potomac. I'm gonna be doing Married to Medicine. I'm gonna be doing all Bravo shows. I did The Valley. We'll be doing that when it comes back. So stay locked to the channel. Stay locked to the channel. Give me this. Thumbs up the video. It's free of charge. It helps me out more than you know. Get in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. Share the video, and yeah, let's get into it because we got an episode. Bronwyn and her mom. That scene I can't wait to get to because I got some thoughts for her mother, but we'll get into it. All right, so we pick up where we left off, which was Whitney storming out after her and Lisa had a little sparring. But she then says she's not stooping to Lisa's level. She's going to remove herself until Lisa tuckers herself out. I don't know what she meant by that. But Lisa, we get back in there, and she's now talking to Angie about her comparing her to Jen again. And she was like, I mean, you only own 1.5 of your franchise, talking about her salons. And Angie's like, I own 3 of my salons, and the rest are my franchises that I'm proud of. So Lisa's sitting there talking about how Angie be gloating about having 10 salons, and Angie gets up, starts getting, you know how she do. Angie gets up out of that seat like she gonna hit somebody. I need to see if Angie got hands, because for her to get up, so much, she has to have something. But then again, looking at how she gets up, and it's like when Angie gets up and starts talking, it's like you could tell like she do it and then tries to pull back. It's like she doing it for a moment, honestly. But they start going back and forth. But Angie then says, like, I mean, I finally figured out who Lisa is and how she lies and deflects to make somebody else a target. I love Lisa, but that is the truth. But Angie then says too, and she shades the fuck out of Lisa. She says, you do French fries and I do franchises. Mary cracked me up because Mary's sitting over there on the side like, what, French fries? And Heather had to break it down for her, and then Mary realized, oh shit, that was good. But Whitney, she returns back. Lisa wasn't even paying attention, but Lisa then brings out her tequila bottle because her and Angie still going back and forth. And she's talking about how proud she is of the things that she has. And it's not just this. Like, it's not just tequila. I got other shit going on. But Angie then starts talking about how she's been promoting Lisa's son's line more than she has. I say, Angie, you going into a level of territory that you might not want to do that. But Angie then tells her, like, you need to promote your own son's line because, I mean, it doesn't belong on my shelf. I said, ma'am, that's her son. Like, what? Lisa says it's a luxury men's grooming line, and Angie said it belongs in Walmart. I said, Angie, Angie, that's her son. Like, what? But Lisa then says you're a very jealous human, and Angie says, no, bitch, you are. But Lisa starts hollering now, hollering her face. You could tell that Botox is stuck because you could tell she's screaming, she's trying to make her face do stuff, but her face ain't moving because of what she got in her face. But she starts hollering, telling her that she questions everything she has going on, and she's telling her to stop. And Lisa then says, like, we're at a point of no return because you mentioned in my son's line. I agree with Lisa. Like, I feel like leave the kids out of it. Even if you got something that you could use to stick to her, I feel like using her son is cheap. It's cheap. So Meredith then says that wasn't a nice thing to say. Heather then starts talking about how she understands Lisa's desire to clear her name because she wasn't present for the camping trip. Everybody was talking about it. But for her to go low and count Angie's money, basically like you in her pockets, that's low. But then Angie, you flipping the shit back on her, talking about her son as a diss, that's low as well. One time I'm agreeing with Heather. But Angie says it's not a diss. It was. You did use that as a diss. But Heather then stating, like, it's horrible. And Heather's right. Like, it is horrible for you to use her son to get back at her. Like, I didn't like that. But Heather then says she's not friends with them, everybody at the table, because of their businesses. I'm friends with y'all because I had fun with y'all, and this hasn't been a great time, talking about the luncheon. And everybody can agree Lisa is a fearless, strong person. She gets to then lifting Lisa back up. You know how she doing. You know how she do. But she's like, she's a fearless, strong person. And when you're on, basically telling Lisa, like, when you're on somebody's side, you feel invincible. But when it's you against them, you feel vulnerable. Obviously, like, if it's her against a bunch of other people, obviously she gonna feel vulnerable because it's her against a bunch of other people. But she then tells Angie that she loves her. She says, this is Lisa. Lisa tells, oh, actually, I just skipped over something. Lisa says there is times where I do feel vulnerable. And Mary's like, you don't show it. Lisa then says, like, I mean, I grew up different than everybody else here, so it looks differently to y'all, but I am being vulnerable, and I am. I'm sitting here thinking if she does, I don't feel like Lisa does show her vulnerability enough around them, and maybe that's because she don't trust them. And I feel like she got a reason to feel that type of way. But then again, they have a reason to feel like they can't trust her too. But she then tells them that she tells Angie, I love you. Like, I do love you. I get sensitive when it comes to you because when you do love somebody like that and they do stuff to hurt you, it hurts harder. I said, true, but the same thing can be said to you, Lisa, because they love you just as much as you claim to love them. And you be hitting below the belt with them too. So, I mean, what she's stating is true, but it applies to everybody at that table. But Angie's sitting there processing it. Lisa then says that she thought that they were good, and then that happened. Angie then apologizes. Lisa accepts it. Lisa didn't really apologize. But Angie then states her piece, says that she loves her as well. Lisa then tells Heather that she's her biggest champion. She loves her as well. Heather's sitting there crying because she's squinching her face up, but I ain't see no tears. But Lisa starts stating like she wants everybody at that table to thrive. She has work to do within herself. She did admit that. And she's like, even when I am irritated with all of y'all, including you, Bronwyn, even though I state that I don't like you, there are things that I do like and I do see in you, even if you don't see it yourself. Talking about like, even if you don't see that, I see that within you. And Bron was like, I mean, I just want you to know, and I'm going to say this for everybody else, I didn't take pride in hearing the things that were said about you. I just wanted you to stop talking about me. I don't believe that either. I do believe that Bronwyn did enjoy it. She did. I do. Do I feel like she's bad? She's wrong to enjoy it? No, because Lisa enjoyed doing what she did with Bronwyn. So, I mean, it's an eye for an eye. It's just like own up to it, though. But she states that I know that I hurt you, and I know that you hurt me. And whenever you're able to state that, then we can move forward. But Lisa then raises a glass to them being friends and loving each other hard. And she loves them even though she gets mad at them. She didn't do what Bronwyn was giving her the opportunity to do here, but she did eventually. But we're going to move to the next scene. We get a quick little scene of Mary and Heather out for brunch. And I'm like, that's an interesting duo. But they were laughing, talking about them drinking too much the day before. Mary was like, I mean, I don't even drink tequila because it reminds me of medicine. It tastes like medicine and it even smells like a hospital. Heather's like, what? She was like, yeah. But Whitney, she's at home with Justin. He's installing a stripper pole. She misses when she used to have one. She talks about her business failing and pretty much it breathing new life into her. She feels like she's empowered to do other things. But Bronwyn, we see Bronwyn at Vita Tequila to meet up with Lisa. And Lisa's in there. And Bronwyn then asks her like when her and John launched it. Lisa's like, last June, we've had some great parties, even at like during Sundance. But Lisa then tells her that she felt like there were too many voices yesterday, so she wanted to pretty much have a one-on-one with her so that they can figure out things. And Lisa tells us, like, if we didn't have a one-on-one, I don't feel like we would have resolved anything. I do agree with that. But Lisa then says there were damaging things that were said. I'm sorry about those, but I think that it stemmed from both of us being hurt about our friendship, and I just don't want it to happen anymore. Bronwyn says, like, what went on between us was done on purpose, which... She admitted it, which is true. Like, yes, I feel like both of them took shots at each other purposefully. And she says it was hurtful. Lisa then says, like, I had said the things that I didn't realize were a big deal for you and Todd, and she apologizes. I don't believe that she didn't realize that it was a big deal to them. It was. Like, you knew that shit was hurtful. But Lisa then apologizes and says that her intentions weren't that. Bronwyn says she didn't think that it was. And she says, I do want to be clear with you. That I had nothing but appreciation for you pretty much doing what she did with Bronwyn's daughter's father's family. As we all know, Lisa's friends with them, like pretty much trying to go reconcile for her. And she's like, I mean, I only wanted to, I would only share me wanting to reconcile with her dad's family with Lisa. But she then says that she never felt any other way but appreciative of her going to talk to them. And even if it put her friendship, talking about Lisa's friendship with them, in a weird place. But she states that her and Gwen are in a good place about it. And she just doesn't feel like she needs to defend herself anymore. And if she makes a mistake, she made that mistake in life and she'll have to hold herself accountable for it. That's all it is. Like, we're not perfect human beings. You're going to make mistakes. Like, it is what it is. Lisa then says the same. And she's like, I mean, I feel defensive when it comes to John. And like, that's my biggest trigger. We know that. We know that. Like, you talk about John, she flips out. But she says, like, at Amy's house, that's what set me off. Bronwyn was like, I mean, me saying that he's stressed out isn't the same as you saying that I suck dick for clothes. She ain't lying. She's like, that's what I'm stating about, like, a race to the bottom. And it just needs to stop. Lisa says, I'm not trying to race to get to the bottom and go low. Bronwyn says, I mean, I made a joke to you as a friend a couple years ago, and then you stated back stating that I suck dick for clothes. It's not stating it in the same context of what I did when I told you initially. And she was like, then saying that I don't respect my husband and calling me a whore. Again, Lisa says what she said. Lisa said, I didn't call you a whore. She didn't call you a whore. But Bronwyn is right. You are insinuating that she is a whore or has whorish tendencies by sucking dick for money and sucking dick for clothes. But Bronwyn then says, like, I just don't want to go back and forth with you. She realizes, like, they about to get into territory where they're not trying to be at. But she was like, I mean, we both can take accountability, because they both do take accountability. They both take accountability for the things that they did that hurt each other. Bronwyn says that she's going to be neutral going forward. Like, basically, we're going to start fresh at this point, hopefully, and make it easier for the girls to be around us. But I just don't want anything else being said about Ty. Lisa says the same. Bronwyn agrees. Lisa then says also the kids. And Bronwyn's like, I never said anything about the kids. But they then start talking about their kids. But Bronwyn then really starts talking about her mom living with her and how she was really upset the other day. And she says that Gwen and her, talking about Gwen and Bronwyn, had a disagreement, and her mom was like, I got sick in my stomach. Like, I got sick to my stomach watching it. Lisa's like, do you think that that triggered her? And Bronwyn was like, I mean, that's what I said. I mean, that's what she said, essentially. She basically stating that her mom said, like, we should have been grandparents before we were parents because I've been softer with Gwen than I was with Bronwyn, essentially. It's interesting that she said that, considering the interaction that happened later on in the episode. But Bronwyn says it was important to hear her mom acknowledge that she was in fact hard on her. But Bronwyn then states and talks about how she notices that she likes control, and she likes to control people, or at least control how people feel about her. And she's trying to let go of that. You do need to. Like, worrying about what people think about you, you're never going to be satisfied. So stop worrying about it. It doesn't matter about what people think about you. And it's like, I'm stating that now, but everything that we've been seeing with her mom, it explains completely as to why she feels like she needs to have public validation, because she didn't get it from her own parents. But we'll get to that. Trust me. But Lisa says that she's happy that they had this conversation without screaming. They hug it out. We'll see how long it lasts. We all know not long. But Mary is out with her cousin Big Joe, and they arrive at her church. It's been renovated. She's excited to reopen the church. And she talks about him, her and Robert pretty much getting closer after everything that's happened with his struggles. And she was like, it's just more hurtful because with me being close, it's super close to him now, even more. When he falls off, I now am fully aware of what's really going on. But Big Joe starts getting emotional about it because he's like, he's tough. Like, he's a smart kid. He's a tough kid. And Mary's like, I know he's got a good heart. But she then talks about how she's excited about coming back to the church, basically getting the church back open. And she's like, I mean, prayer will help anybody. And that is the truth. It truly is. But she then talks about how when she was younger and her mom had called her to church, she came, and now everything pretty much changed for her, and everything that she is now is because of that. So Joe gives Mary props for holding them all together. He's like, if it weren't for you, we wouldn't all be here at this point. She appreciates that. She then starts talking about her mom, pretty much trying to take over and wanting power over everything that's going on with the church. And he talks about how her mom thought that she was not going to go somewhere at one point when they were at the church, pretty much getting ready to get her removed. And she thought she wasn't going nowhere, but the police ended up escorting her out. But Mary then talks about how it's like a full circle moment. And she talks about how it hurts, but it's also a new chapter that's beginning and a new chapter that had closed. Well, not a new chapter, an old chapter that had closed. But Mary then starts talking as well about like the articles that her mom had put out, like the lies and stuff that she had pretty much fed to the press. And she was like, it was just always something. And she starts getting emotional, talking about like her mom was just doing things that was hurting her. And she tells us like she felt the absence when her mom walked out of her life, and how her mom didn't want her talking to her. And she was like, I mean, I gave her what she wanted. So when she left the earth a couple months ago, it felt official to her, and it just became more of a hurtful reality. I love how much from last season to this season, we're getting more, I don't want to say more depth, because we've always had depth with Mary, but we're seeing her like break down her walls more and more since she came back from that season off. So y'all know I love me some Mary. I love me some Mary Cosby. But Angie at her salon, this was so funny. Heather arrives with her hair looking a fool, but Angie tells her she's gonna give her a perm. Heather's like, Angie tells her she ain't done it in 30 years. I said, and you gonna sit in that chair, Heather? But she starts talking as she's doing her hair. And she's talking about how a girl had walked into the salon one day and she thought, well, not one day, recently, she thought that she had a hair appointment. But no, it was Lisa's assistant picking up her son's products. I said, uh-oh. Heather says the products that were on the shelf. Angie says, I mean, it was there, but it no longer. So Angie says she thought it was a joke, but she found out that the girl was dead ass serious. Lisa sent her in there to do it. So Angie goes to the back to get the rest of the products that were packed the shit up. And Angie says that the assistant then told her that Lisa had Venmo'd her the money for the products. So Angie then gets her phone and sees a text, and Lisa is telling her it's $600 sent. I can send my cleaners to help you too. Sorry, your salon is so dusty. I said. Heather's sitting there laughing. So she then asked Angie what was her response. And I already knew Angie lit her up. I already knew it. Angie, they show a clip of her sending the voice memo telling Lisa she should send that money to the people that are claiming that you owe them money. My salon is not dusty, but your products are because they've been sitting here for 2 years. When I tell you I died, I hollered laughing. Angie in that mouth is crazy. Lisa then responds and says, at least I don't have to borrow money to go on vacations and pay it back after using a card that I should have never used to begin with. I was like, that's interesting considering what's being said about you. But Heather then says, like, what could that be about? Angie says, I mean, I don't know, but I stopped responding because, like, at this point, like, she doing stuff. But Angie said that she thought that they had left on a good note. I did too. Heather did as well. But Angie then says, like, I'm tired of her deflecting, saying that I was talking about her kids. You were. It's like I'm trying to figure out if she really was talking about her kids, but you were talking about his business. So yeah, you are talking about his kids. And Heather says, I mean, you talked about his product line. Angie was like, I mean, I wouldn't have done it if Lisa didn't start stating that I was jealous of her and her shiny hair. And Angie then says, like, I mean, everybody has nice hair that was in the room. Britani, you remember high body count hair? But she was like, yours is dyed bowling ball black. And Heather's like, see, this is what I'm talking about. It's hard to defend you when you do this shit. But Angie says, like, I mean, I'm just taking everything that she has said to me. And she's stating that Lisa is stating everything that was said to her and slinging that shit back at her. And Angie's like, I either walk away or I get low with her. But Angie then says, like, I just want to be in a good place with her. But I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to react when I see her, basically. Like, we already know what's going to happen next week. But Whitney and Britani, they're out at this floral shop. And Britney's talking about how she, her and Whitney had gotten off to a rough start, as we all know, episode 1. Pretty much stating like she saw Lisa taking shots at Whitney's business and realized that's exactly what she did on that RV. And she feels bad about it. But she apologizes. Whitney appreciates it. And she says that she feels bad about what she has said about Britani and Jared. And she says, I don't go that low and I don't go to that level. That's just not me. I said, now, Whitney, stop lying. But they then start talking about Britani and Jared breaking off their engagement, but still being together. Whitney was me. What does that mean? Like, y'all broke off your engagement, but y'all still together? And she then says, like, we're working back to getting engaged. I said, Britani. But she then says, he's good to her. Since when? And then she then says they're trying to take things slow in the sake of their kids. And Whitney says, has Olivia even expressed it, like what she wants out of that? Britani says, I think she wants consistency with me, not choosing a man over her, but it's super hard because we got in a good place. I said, what you mean it's super hard for you not to choose a man over your child? Especially a man that treats you like shit. Britani, something is wrong with her. That's crazy. And you stating, Britani, something ain't right with her. But Whitney then asks, is it really that hard for you to stop doing that to prove to your child that she's worth it? I'm like, Whitney was dumbstruck. But Britani then says that would be a hard test. I was like, what? What are you talking about? But Whitney then says that she should come first. Her daughter, she's like, even as an adult, she should. Like, hello, you brought her into this world. Like, what do you mean? But Whitney then pretty much talks about her relationship with her mom, how that's estranged. But even though when they weren't talking, she still needed her mom. She still loved her mom. She still wanted her mom. So she basically tells her, like, you don't need to give up. But Britani then claims that she wants to be there for her, but it's impossible because Britani states that she wants to be there for her child. I'm thinking I'm talking about Whitney. Britani claims that she wants to be there for her, but it's impossible because she doesn't make space for her. why do you think that she doesn't make space for you? Because she sees that you don't really prioritize her. So why would she make that space? That's where you as a mother are supposed, you should want to do that. Like, regardless, even if she's not making the space for you, you should not stop to try and make sure that she does feel that you want her. Like, that's your child. But Whitney then says it's going to take time. Like, give it time. But you could use a break from the messiness that comes with Jared. I said, hello. She's like, I mean, if Olivia needs that, it should be a no-brainer. Hello. But Whitney is not like borderline shaking her. It's your daughter. Like, you should naturally want to feel like you should do anything for her. And Whitney asks, like, do you feel that? Brittany says, I do. She didn't state it. I didn't believe what she said. And she didn't say it convincingly. But Whitney was like, I mean, you sitting here talking like this got me feeling some type of way. I said, exactly. But here we go. We are at Bronwyn's house with her mother. Let me pause and take a drink. So we see Gwen and her boyfriend. They're heading out to go bowl. So they then start talking about, Bronwyn and her mama, they start talking about what her mom would have done if Bronwyn was in that position trying to bring her boyfriend into her house. Her mom said it wouldn't have happened. Shit wouldn't have happened in my mama's house. Shit wouldn't have happened in my dad's house, even though they live together. Shit wouldn't happen in my house. I'm 30 years old right now, don't have no kids yet. But let my kid come up in there talking about some, Dad, I want to bring my girlfriend in the house. I want to bring my boyfriend in the house to live. Where? But Bronwyn then says that her mom has an idea of a perfect Mormon family, and she herself is never going to fit. And she's talking about Bronwyn. She's never going to fit into that for her. Bronwyn then tells her mom, like, it doesn't bother me that basically Gwen has her child in there. Her mom says, I know that's why it doesn't bother you, because it also doesn't bother Gwen because it doesn't bother you. And she's following your example. She's not wrong stating that, but the smirk that she said when she said it, I was like, why are you getting pride in that? Like, it's kind of weird. Cause the message is true. It's like, you as a mom, you as a dad, you lead by example. Your kids are watching you and seeing what you're doing and what you're allowing. And if they see that with you, they think it's okay. So her mom has a point, but it's just the way she's going about it. Very weird, but it gets nastier. But Bronwyn says, let's be careful how we say that. And you know how Bronwyn is. Like, she tries to state something with intention by like laughing it off or like smiling through it. When I'm like, the way your mama was talking to you, I don't care if she is your mama. Like, you need to talk to her very sternly, like, cut the laughing. But you can tell she's not, you can tell she wants her mom's approval still, even after all of this, which is, but her mom then says, every example you're doing, she's copying. So Bronwyn says, let's not say it like I'm out here in the streets. Like, I just don't want sneakiness and I just want her to be open. That I can understand. It's like, if you allow your child to feel comfortable enough to come to you and tell you certain things, that is important. I do believe that, but there is a way to do that. I don't feel like letting her bring her child into your house, not her child, her boyfriend into your house. I don't feel like that's the route. But I mean, I'm not a parent, but that's how I wouldn't do it. Y'all, if y'all are parents, let me know how y'all would handle that situation. But her mom then says, like, I like that, but that's parenting that I've never seen work. And she's smiling again as she's stating it. Bronwyn then says, well, I mean, did the way that you parent me work? Because you didn't want me having sex. In newsflash, I had a baby by myself, so it didn't stop me from doing it. I said, ooh, she clocked her, because it's the truth. But her mom then says, like, I mean, I wasn't once thinking about that because you were taught in Mormonism not to drink, not to smoke, not to have sex. And I didn't think that you would do that. I would put my head on a chopping block thinking that you would have never done any of that. Bronwyn then says, I mean, I know you're a big fan of the tough love. I'm not a fan of receiving it. Her mom says, I mean, you see how better that works with tough love. Bronwyn says it doesn't. It's subjective, because I feel like tough love does work. And then again, I feel like, and there's a certain thing, I feel like what Bronwyn is stating her mom is doing is as tough love is not tough love. Her mom is she's very sinister with how she does it. I don't feel like that's tough love. Like, I just think it's just straight up tough. I ain't seen nothing loving the last 2 episodes with their interactions between the two of them, which I can only imagine how it was growing up. But her mom states that, and Bronwyn then says, like, I wouldn't be jazzed if Gwen ended up having a baby at this age that she's at right now, but I would handle it differently. Bronwyn then says too, and she starts talking to us in her confessionals about how, well, no, because she's about to, but she tells her mom, like, you didn't let me have a baby shower You weren't letting me be happy about it. You weren't happy about it. You didn't allow anybody to celebrate me. I was like, damn, that's sad. But she then tells us a story where they were at a baby gap and Bronwyn was pregnant and her sisters were pregnant at the same time, as she was. She says that her mom was picking out something for her granddaughter. Did she say this yet? Yeah, she said she was picking out something for her granddaughter. The worker that was assisting them asked Bronwyn, who was clearly pregnant, if she was having a little girl. Bronwyn told her that her mom meant her sister. Basically, like, she's buying this for her other granddaughter, not this one. So, she states that the worker then apologizes and is like, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have assumed that you were pregnant. Bronwyn says, I am. Like, I am pregnant. The worker then asks, oh, well, is grandmama going to buy something for your child too? Her mom butts in and says, no. I said, what? That is crazy. Like, for you to even think that and then to even say it to somebody, I could have only imagined what that worker was thinking. Could have only imagined. I'm like, damn. Like, that shit makes everything that Bronwyn is make sense. It makes you look at Bronwyn differently now. But Bronwyn then tells her mom that her mom made sure that Bronwyn didn't have a happy pregnancy to the point where, like, she's like, you didn't know that I wasn't going to have any more kids, but you made it to the point where, like, I never experienced any happy pregnancy and I never got to do it again. And she starts getting emotional. And her mom says, I mean, that's not my fault. I said, what the fuck? I can imagine not being happy with your child being a teen mom. But if she's carrying that baby now and she's taking that baby to term, you need to then be supportive. Like, that's crazy. That's your child. That's your child who's carrying your grandchild. She needs that support. And it's like, would you have been happy if she lost the baby? Like, shit like that is weird to me. That's crazy. But her mom says that, and she was smiling as she said it, looking like a devil. I'm like, you sick bitch. Like, what? But Bronwyn's trying to laugh it off, stating like, you're the one that made it miserable, which is clear she did. And her mom says, do you not know how miserable I was trying to hide it? I said, you nasty as fuck. Like, what is wrong with you? No remorse at all. But Bronwyn just nods, like, looking like she wants to cry, but trying not to. I'm like, damn, I hate this for her. Like, her mama is sick. Literally. But Bronwyn then says her mom still thinks that the person who was most hurt about her being pregnant, or at least throughout everything that was going on through the pregnancy, was her, when it was in fact Bronwyn, obviously. But Bronwyn then talks about how she was the person that was last considered through everything going on with her pregnancy, which is crazy because she's the one that's pregnant. But her mom then says, like, I felt like there were periods when Gwen was just dropped in my daycare, basically stating like Bronwyn was trying to push her child off on her. And Bronwyn was like, I don't even know what you're talking about, because like I was at work. Like, whenever you had her, I was at work. Her mom then says, like, if we didn't take her, you would have been somewhere else, and we didn't want her going to foster care. I said, I'm like, damn. But Bronwyn then says, like, I would have worked a second job. Like, let's not imply that. But then again, when she stated that, I'm like, so they weren't supporting her at all. Like, y'all weren't trying to help her. It's like, I understand not being happy about the fact that she had a child at a young age, but support your child. Like, I could not imagine it. Say I was 19 years old and got a woman pregnant, and my parents was like, okay, my parents would never do that. My parents can't wait to be a grandparent. And even if I had a child at a young age, they still would have taken care. They would have helped me take care of it. Because that's what a parent should do. That's what a grandparent should do. That is crazy as fuck to me. But her mom is sitting there smirking now. She's smirking, stating that they never wanted Gwen to be adopted. And she's smirking as she's stating it. And I'm like, you weird. But Bronwyn says, like, I mean, I have grace for you pretty much raising a child that did something that you didn't want them to do. I'm like, I don't understand how you have grace for that. Because she's still not extending you grace to this day. It's like she resents her for doing it. But her mom then says, like, especially the last one, but you're doing your best. Just because I don't state that you're wonderful or amazing, which I think is crazy, because like it's clear she needs that. She said it doesn't mean that I don't think that you are, but then she then says you're just busy being careful, or she says I don't know if she's stating that she didn't take possession of what she stated, but she says just busy being careful that you don't think that you're so wonderful that you are too good. And I'm like, what the fuck? What? But we finished with Angie and Meredith. they're out together, and this is Angie trying to execute her plan. But Angie then talks about how they've been trying to get closer. Like they ain't super close, but they trying to at least get somewhere. But Angie then says she just wants to make sure that Meredith knows that Lisa ain't really her girl like that. So they start off with small talk. Angie then tells her a lot has happened since I last saw you. I don't know if Lisa told you, but I'm gonna tell you. So she then tells her about the assistant coming to the shop and Lisa's text messages. And Angie then says, like, I mean, if you want to be on the right foot, you don't go backwards. Meredith then says, like, you maybe need to extend some grace because, I mean, when you start talking about people's kids, we all get reactive. She's not lying. Angie then says, like, when we weren't in a great place, Lisa was encouraging me. And she's talking about when they weren't in a great place, talking about her and Meredith. When we weren't in a great place, Lisa was pretty much encouraging me to dig up shit and dirt about your family and was telling me to Google people and find all these criminal things going on and pretty much get shit on your family to come back at you with. Angie then says, like, I mean, I didn't do it, but that's not who I am. But that's obviously who Lisa is. I said, now, Angie, why are you just not bringing this up? I understand you and Meredith weren't cool, but it makes it look like you're literally doing this to get other people to not like Lisa. It just looks crazy. But Angie then says Lisa's researching everybody to keep all this information in her back pocket until somebody comes for her, which that is true. I do believe that to be true. But Meredith then says, like, I just don't understand Lisa doing that I just don't understand why she would do that when basically we were getting along when me and you weren't getting along. But Meredith then tells us that Lisa's been loyal to her and Angie's been lying about her for 2 years, which is why it's hard for her to believe what Angie is stating. But she then tells Angie it's disturbing because I wouldn't do that to Lisa. But Meredith then tells Angie, like, I'm going to have to talk to her about this. And Angie's like, I mean, I'm okay with it because she said that shit word for word. But next week, Angie and Lisa getting into it. Angie and Mary. Damn. But if y'all got this far and haven't already, give me this. Get in the comments. Subscribe if you're new. Go check out my Potomac recap if you haven't already. Go check out my Love is Blind. Check those out if you're watching it. You should be. You probably are. Crazy season. But I will see y'all next week. Peace.